She looked like a normal woman online. A mother. A friend. Someone posting memories, emotions, and family moments. But within days, her name would be connected to a case so violent and shocking that people in Del Rio, Texas, could barely understand how it happened in the middle of the day. A mother of 5 was attacked on a public street. 3 young women were arrested. And one video, showing a suspect smiling while being taken into custody, made the case spread even faster. But before the suspects, before the mugshots, before the outrage, there was Caroline Peña. Her friends called her Caro. She was 32 years old. A mother of 5 children. A woman with people who loved her, called her, depended on her, and expected her to come home. The case begins with something ordinary, a day in Del Rio, Texas. Cars moving through the streets. People going to work. Businesses open. Families living their normal routines. It was not late at night. It was not a hidden back road. It was not a private room where no one could see. It was broad daylight. According to police and media reports, the call came around 2:10 in the afternoon. Officers were told to respond to a local hospital. A stabbing victim had arrived. That victim was Caro. She had been seriously injured, and her condition was so severe that she had to be transferred to San Antonio for treatment. Doctors tried to save her life. But hours later, around 9 p.m., Caro was gone. A normal afternoon had become a murder investigation. Police began working quickly. They traced the alleged attack back to the 800 block of 10th Street in Del Rio. Reports later described the area as busy, public, and close to a Sonic. This detail became one of the most disturbing facts of the case. Because this did not happen in secret. People wondered. How could something so violent happen in the open? How could a mother of 5 be attacked in daylight? And what could possibly lead 3 young women to be accused in a killing like this? This is the case of Caroline Caro Peña, a mother whose final hours remain surrounded by questions, pain, and a legal case still unfolding. And tonight, we are not just looking at what happened. We are looking at the people involved, the timeline, the public reaction, the investigation, and the biggest unanswered question. Why? Before she became a name in a criminal case, Caroline Peña was known by another name. Caro. That is what her friends called her. And that small name matters, because it reminds us that this case is not just about suspects, police reports, and court dates. It is about a real woman whose life was taken. Caro was 32 years old. She was a mother of 5. From the videos and memories shared before her death, she appeared to be someone connected to her family, someone who lived ordinary moments that now feel heartbreaking. In one video mentioned in the source material, Caro appeared to be heading for a day on the water with her family. It was the kind of video people post without thinking too much about it: family sounds, movement, joy, everyday life. But after her death, those moments became something else. They became memories. For her friends, Caro was not just someone they knew casually. She was someone they relied on emotionally. One friend later posted about missing a final call from her. The friend wrote with guilt, heartbreak, and disbelief, saying she wished she had answered, wished she had been there, wished she could have stopped what happened. That detail stays with you. A missed call. A few minutes. A friend at work. A life that was about to end. Caro's friend described her as someone who encouraged her, someone who told her not to settle, someone who answered when she needed to talk. That shows another side of Caro, not only as a mother, but as a support system for others. When a person is killed, the public often focuses on the final scene. The crime. The suspects. The violence. But the people closest to the victim remember everything before that. They remember the phone calls. The jokes. The voice. The advice. The daily routines. The way that person made them feel less alone. And for 5 children, Caro was not a headline. She was their mother. That is what makes the case so heavy. Because whatever happened on that street, whatever argument or conflict may have taken place, the result was permanent. 5 children lost a parent. Friends lost someone they called a sister. A community was left with an image of a mother fighting for her life in broad daylight. At this stage, many details remain unclear. Police have not publicly confirmed what started the confrontation. It is not clear whether Caro knew the accused women before the incident. It is not clear whether there had been an ongoing dispute or whether something happened suddenly. But one thing is clear. Caro did not survive. And the people who loved her were left asking how a normal day turned into the last day of her life. After Caro arrived at the hospital, police moved fast. Within about 2 hours, 3 young women were connected to the case. Their names were Mia Diaz, Amaya, Diaz, and Kandra Renee Faz. Mia Diaz was 21 years old. Her sister, Amaya, Diaz, was 19. Kandra Renee Faz was also 21 and was described in reports as their friend. The ages shocked many people. These were not older criminals with long public histories. They were young women. And one of them, Kitty, had recently posted emotional social media content about her young son. In the source material, one post described her child as her purpose, her motivation, and the person who gave her strength. She wrote about unconditional love. She wrote about being a mother. She wrote about how her son saved her life in ways he would never fully understand. Then, shortly after those posts, she was accused in connection with the killing of another mother. That contrast became one of the most unsettling parts of the case. Online, people often show the version of themselves they want others to see. Love. Family. Softness. Struggle. Hope. But real life is more complicated. The person posting emotional words online can still be accused of something horrifying offline. That does not prove guilt. It does not replace evidence. But it does create a disturbing contrast. The second accused woman, Diaz, became widely discussed because of the arrest video. A local YouTube account reportedly captured footage of police taking the Diaz sisters into custody. In that footage, Cookie appeared to smile and speak toward the camera. For many viewers, that moment was almost impossible to understand. A woman was dying. A mother of 5 had been stabbed. And one of the accused appeared relaxed, even amused. But in a criminal case, public emotion and legal evidence are different things. A video of someone smiling in handcuffs may disturb the public, but prosecutors still need evidence of what happened during the attack. Who had the weapon? Who participated? Who planned anything, if anything was planned? Who tried to stop it? Who escalated it? Who delivered the fatal wounds? Those questions matter. Kandra Faz, the third accused woman, was also arrested. Reports at the time indicated police were still gathering evidence and that more charges could be pending. The 3 women were now at the center of a case that could change their lives forever. But the most important question remained unanswered. What happened between them and Caro? The alleged attack took place in Del Rio, Texas, around the 800 block of 10th Street. To understand why this detail matters, you have to picture the setting. This was not described as an abandoned area. It was not a place where no one would pass by. Reports said it was near a busy road, close to a Sonic, in the middle of the day. That means the crime scene may have had witnesses, vehicles, nearby businesses, security cameras, and possibly people recording on phones. In modern investigations, a public location can become a map of evidence. A gas station camera may catch one angle. A restaurant camera may catch another. A passing car may record a license plate. A witness may remember clothing. A social media post may show part of the confrontation. A phone may reveal messages sent minutes before or after. Police had to reconstruct the scene from pieces. When they first responded, they were not called directly to the street. They were called to the hospital, where Caro had already arrived. That means investigators had to work backwards. They had to ask. Where was she attacked? Who brought her to the hospital? Did she speak before being transferred? Was there blood at the scene? Were witnesses still nearby? Had the suspects left? Was the weapon still in the area? According to the transcript, police determined that Caro had allegedly been stabbed on 10th Street. Friends also told local media that images had circulated online showing Caro in an altercation with 3 women. The images reportedly showed a blood-stained pink shirt and Caro surrounded. Those images were later taken down, but the fact that people were discussing them suggests the incident may have been seen or recorded by others. That raises another disturbing point. In public violence, some people run to help. Others freeze. Others record. Sometimes, bystanders do not immediately understand how serious the situation is until it is too late. If an argument becomes a fight, and a fight becomes a stabbing, the shift can happen in seconds. One moment, people may think they are seeing a confrontation. The next moment, someone is bleeding. Then a life is in danger. For police, that means every second matters. The moments before the stabbing, during the stabbing, and after the stabbing may all be crucial. And because arrests happen quickly, investigators likely found something early that pointed them toward the 3 accused women. But the street still held the bigger question. Was this sudden chaos, or was there a reason Caro was targeted? According to reports cited in the source material, Caro Peña was stabbed multiple times. The injuries were described as 2 stab wounds to the back and 1 to the stomach. Those details are difficult, but they are important because they shape how investigators understand the attack. A wound to the stomach may suggest a face-to-face moment. Wounds to the back may suggest the victim turned away, tried to escape, or was attacked while not directly facing the person with the weapon. But without full video, witness statements, and forensic evidence, no one outside the investigation can say exactly how the sequence happened. That is why this case still has so many unanswered questions. Was there one knife or more than one? Did one person stab Caro while the others fought her? Did one person bring the weapon? Did anyone try to stop the attack? Was the confrontation planned? Was it spontaneous? Did the suspects know Caro? Was there a previous dispute? The motive has not been publicly confirmed. And for many people following the case, that is the hardest part to accept. When something this violent happens, people search for an explanation. They want to believe there must have been something huge behind it. A long-running conflict. A betrayal. A threat. A fight that had been building. But sometimes, cases begin with something small and escalate beyond reason. A message. A rumor. A look. An argument. A fight over pride. A group mentality where one person becomes more violent because others are present. That does not excuse anything. It simply shows why investigators must examine everything. In group violence cases, the truth can be complicated. One suspect may say she was only present. Another may blame someone else. Another may stay silent. Each person may try to reduce her own role. That is why police look for evidence that cannot easily change. Video. Blood evidence. Phone records. Witnesses. Surveillance. Clothing. Statements made before and after the attack. The key issue is not only who was there. It is what each person did. Because in court, presence alone may not always be enough. But participation, encouragement, assistance, or acting together can change everything. For Caro's family, these legal distinctions may feel cold. Their loved one is gone. But for the justice system, those details determine charges, responsibility, and possible punishment. And at this point, the case still depends on what investigators can prove. One of the most striking parts of this case is how fast police moved. The call came around 2:10 p.m. By around 4 p.m., arrests were already being recorded. That is a very short window in a serious violent crime investigation. For detectives, the first hours are critical. Evidence is fresh. Witnesses are still nearby. Suspects may still have clothing, phones, weapons, or vehicles connected to the scene. A fast arrest does not happen by accident. It usually means investigators received strong early information. Maybe witnesses identified the suspects. Maybe video showed the confrontation. Maybe people at the scene knew the women. Maybe the circulated images helped police. Maybe the suspects were found nearby. Maybe several pieces came together quickly. In the source material, a retired NYPD detective explained that in a case like this, investigators would likely move in several directions at once. Some officers would go to the hospital. Others would go to the crime scene. Others would look for witnesses, cameras, and physical evidence. That kind of response is necessary because a stabbing case can change quickly. At first, it may be an aggravated assault investigation. But if the victim dies, it becomes a homicide case. That means the evidence collected early becomes even more important. If Caro was still alive when police began investigating, officers may have also been trying to learn whether she could provide any information. But because her injuries were severe, it is unclear whether she was able to speak or identify anyone. Meanwhile, police had to secure the scene on 10th Street. They had to determine whether the weapon was left behind or taken away. They had to look for blood patterns, discarded items, surveillance footage, and witnesses. If the suspects used a vehicle, police would likely want to know where it went. If they changed clothes, police would want those clothes. If they sent messages afterward, police would want the phones. The arrest may have happened quickly, but that does not mean the case was complete. An arrest is only the first public step. The real work continues afterward: search warrants, interviews, forensic testing, phone downloads, medical reports, autopsy findings, and prosecutor review. And that is where the case becomes bigger than one afternoon. Because now, every detail matters. After the arrests, one piece of footage began drawing heavy attention. It was the video of the Diaz sisters being taken into custody. One of them, Cookie Diaz, appeared to smile while being led away. She also reportedly made a comment toward the camera. That image spread because it felt emotionally wrong to people. A mother of 5 was dying. A community was shaken. And an accused suspect appeared to be smiling. For the public, this became a symbol of the case. People saw it and felt anger. They asked how someone could act that way while facing accusations connected to such a serious attack. But human behavior during arrest can be strange. Some people cry. Some panic. Some laugh nervously. Some act tough. Some perform for cameras. Some seem disconnected from reality. Some do not understand the seriousness of what is happening. That does not make the behavior acceptable. It simply means investigators and prosecutors cannot rely only on public interpretation. In court, a defense attorney may argue that the smile meant nothing. They may say it was nervousness, immaturity, confusion, or an attempt to hide fear. They may say the suspect did not yet know Caro would die. A prosecutor may argue that the behavior showed a lack of remorse or a disturbing attitude after the alleged attack. But either way, the smile alone does not prove the crime. Evidence does. Still, the video matters because jurors are human. If the case goes to trial and the footage is allowed in court, it could influence how people perceive the accused. It could become part of the larger story prosecutors tell. The emotional impact is undeniable. For Caro's family and friends, that smile may have felt like disrespect. Not just toward the law, but toward Caro's life. Imagine seeing someone accused in your loved one's killing appear calm or amused while your loved one is fighting for her life. That is why the video hurt people so deeply. It was not just footage of an arrest. It became a visual contrast between two realities. Caro in a hospital, critically wounded. A suspect outside, smiling in handcuffs. That contrast is one reason this case became so widely discussed. But the courtroom will have to move beyond emotion. It will have to answer the real question. What happened on 10th Street, and who is legally responsible? In cases involving multiple suspects, one question always becomes central. Who did what? The public may see 3 arrests and assume all 3 are equally responsible. But legally, investigators must determine each person's role. Did one person stab Caro? Did another hold her back? Did another encourage the attack? Did someone block her from escaping? Did someone bring the weapon? Did someone record? Did someone try to stop it? Did someone arrive after the violence had already started? These details matter. In many states, including Texas, people can face serious charges even if they were not the person who physically used the weapon, depending on their actions and involvement. If prosecutors believe multiple people acted together, they may argue that all were part of the same criminal event. But that still has to be proven. If video shows all 3 surrounding Caro and participating in the assault, that could strengthen the prosecution's case. If video shows only one person attacking while others stand away, the defense may use that difference. This is why investigators will likely study any available footage frame by frame. Where was each person standing? Who moved first? Who made contact? Who had an object in hand? Who stayed close? Who left the scene? Who returned? Who seemed to know what was happening? Phone evidence may also be crucial. Messages before the incident could show whether a meeting was arranged. Messages after could reveal panic, blame, admissions, or attempts to hide evidence. Search history may matter. Deleted messages may matter. Location data may matter. Photos and videos may matter. Investigators may also look for injuries on the suspects. In stabbing cases, the person holding a knife can sometimes cut their own hand, especially if the weapon slips. Scratches, bruises, or blood on clothing may help reconstruct what happened. Then there is the issue of statements. If all 3 suspects stay silent, prosecutors rely more heavily on physical and video evidence. If one suspect talks, the case can shift dramatically. Police often look for the person most likely to cooperate. Someone younger. Someone less involved. Someone afraid of the consequences. Someone willing to say, "I was there, but this is what really happened." But cooperation can be complicated. A suspect may tell the truth, or she may minimize her own role and blame others. That is why detectives compare every statement against evidence. In this case, the truth may depend not on one single piece of proof, but on the total picture. A street. A timeline. A weapon. 3 suspects. 1 victim. And the evidence connecting them all. At the time described in the source material, the 3 accused women were being held in a correctional facility in Del Rio. Police said they were still gathering evidence and that more charges could be pending. The local clerk reportedly said the suspects did not yet have court dates because they had not been indicted. That means the case had not yet moved fully into the next stage of formal prosecution. In serious cases, the district attorney reviews the evidence and decides what charges to pursue. A grand jury may then consider whether there is enough evidence for an indictment. This stage can take time. To the public, it may feel like nothing is happening. But behind the scenes, investigators may be building the case piece by piece. They may be waiting for forensic results. They may be reviewing surveillance videos. They may be interviewing witnesses again. They may be analyzing phones. They may be waiting for medical examiner findings. They may be deciding whether the evidence supports murder, manslaughter, aggravated assault, conspiracy, or other charges. The defense will also begin preparing. Defense attorneys may question whether police arrested the right people. They may challenge how evidence was collected. They may argue that one suspect had a smaller role. They may argue self-defense, lack of intent, or that the situation escalated unexpectedly. Because police have not publicly released all details, it is too early to know what defense arguments may appear. But one thing is clear, this case is serious. Texas is known for harsh sentencing in violent crime cases. If the suspects are indicted and convicted of serious homicide-related charges, they could face life-changing penalties. There has also been public discussion about whether the death penalty could ever be considered in a case like this. But that decision depends on specific legal requirements and prosecutorial judgment. Not every murder case qualifies for capital punishment, and prosecutors would have to evaluate the facts carefully. For now, the most responsible way to describe the case is simple. The suspects are accused, not convicted. The investigation is ongoing. Caro Peña is dead. Her family is grieving. And the legal system must determine what can be proven. That legal process may not move as quickly as public emotion. People online may already have opinions, but courtrooms require evidence, procedure, and time. For Caro's loved ones, waiting may be painful. But if justice is going to mean anything, the case must be built carefully. Because when the trial comes, if it comes, every detail will be challenged. And the question will not be what people believe happened. The question will be what prosecutors can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. The case of Caro Peña is disturbing because it feels both public and hidden at the same time. Public, because it happened in broad daylight. Public, because images and arrest videos circulated online. Public, because people in Del Rio talked about it, reacted to it, and shared their anger. But hidden, because the most important answers are still missing. Why did it happen? What started the confrontation? Did Caro know the accused women? Was there a history between them? Who brought the weapon? Who used it? Did all three act together? Was it planned, or did it explode in the moment? Could anyone have stopped it? These questions are what keep the case alive in people's minds. But behind every question is one painful fact. Caro is gone. A mother of 5 left behind children who now have to grow up with a loss they did not choose. Her friends are left replaying final calls, final messages, final memories. A community is left with the knowledge that violence happened in the open, on a street people pass every day. And then there are the 3 accused women. Young. Facing serious allegations. Now part of a case that may define the rest of their lives. The contrast between social media and reality is one of the most haunting themes here. Online, people can appear loving, happy, loyal, and emotional. But a few minutes of real-world violence can destroy every image they built. That is why this case feels so modern. It has everything that makes a story spread: social media posts, viral arrest footage, a public crime scene, young suspects, a mother victim, an unanswered motive. But at the center is not a trend. It is a human loss. Caro Peña was not just the victim. She was a mother. A friend. A woman with a voice, a family, and a life that should have continued. The investigation will move forward. More evidence may come out. Court dates may be set. Charges may change. Statements may be made. The suspects may fight the allegations, cooperate, or go to trial. But nothing that happens next will undo what happened that afternoon. A Texas street became a crime scene. A mother was taken from her children. 3 young women were accused. And a community was left asking how something so violent could happen so openly. Until the courts reveal more, the case remains unfinished. But the loss is already final. This was the case of Caro, Peña, the mother of 5 killed after a broad daylight attack in Del Rio, Texas. And the question still remains. What truly happened on 10th Street?